Hey everyone, I'm here in Angeles National Forest, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to hike to Condor Peak, right back over there. Now, this is a fun off-the-beaten-path type hike, off-the-beaten-path type thing. It's about 16 miles, a little over 4,000 feet of climbing. The trail's in really good condition, and the scenery is spectacular, and this one probably should be more popular than it is. So if you have not done it, I highly recommend coming out and giving it a try. It's a real fun experience. Now, I have a full guide on HikingGuy.com where I'll talk about maps and parking and all the logistical stuff, so check that out before you go. And as always, thank you for all your support. I cannot do all of these videos without your generosity and support over the years, so thank you for that. And if you want to say thank you for the video, give me the old thumbs up, and it's an easy way to do it. All right, let's start the hike. Let me show you what this is all about.
So we're going to start the hike at this unmarked parking lot here, and we're just going to cross the street, and the trailhead's kind of hidden. You can see it here as we get closer, and this is not the official start of the Condor Peak Trail. It's about a mile down the road, and generally that's used by mountain bikers. It adds about another mile and a half onto each way of the hike. Most people who hike it take this little use trail here, this little connector, and go over and meet the Condor Peak Trail. And you can see this connector trail, it's a little overgrown, but in general, it's in good shape as we go here. And there's some stairs connected into here. It's not too bad. It's maybe half a mile tops, and we're going to follow the road around. And you can see the trail continuing over there ahead of us. We're going to sort of wind around into this canyon and back up. And after a little less than a half a mile, we're going to intersect the Condor Peak Trail, which is right here. We're going to make the left-hand turn and start heading uphill. Now, across Big Tunga Canyon over there is Mount Lukens. That's the highest point in the city of Los Angeles. That's the peak with the radio towers on top. And I have a guide for that on the website as well if you want to check that out. And the trail is going to twist and turn sort of close to the beginning, and you'll see Condor Peak there in the distance. It's the peak on the right. The pointier one on the left is called Condor Point. We're not going there. That's a little bit tougher when we're bushwhacking, but Condor Peak will be tough enough as we go up. And as you climb, if you look across the canyon, you'll see the Stone Canyon Trail, which goes up to Mount Lukens. That's another good hike. I'll make a guide for that. That's another good kind of off the beaten path trail that's in decent condition. Anyway, we're going to keep on climbing. More great views of Condor Peak and Condor Point in the distance over there. We basically have about 6 miles of a steady kind of gradual uphill. And you can see the trail is in great condition here as it sort of winds its way around the canyons and folds of the landscape. At this point, we're essentially bridging the ridge in between Fogle Canyon and Fusier Canyon. Big point in the distance there is Josephine Peak as we head over towards the east. And you can see we're up on that ridge now. You can look down. This is towards Fusier Canyon. And then on the other side is Vogel Canyon. These are just little feeder canyons. The canyon names are the bigger ones, but I'll include a map on the website so you can look at the topographic map and see all the names of everything. We're going to keep on climbing, and we're going to go through many of these little ends of the gully. You can see there's a well-worn waterfall down there. There's not a ton of water on this trail, if any, but when it's raining, these things will be flowing as we come down here. Now we can look across. There's a Hoyt Peak. You can actually see the trail coming down from Hoyt. And if you look down there, we can see into Fusier Canyon. Really beautiful, and it's beautiful on the way down as well. The way down, it's just nothing but views. About 2.5, 3 miles in, there's a spring. I've never done this hike in the heat of summer, but when I've done it in the spring, almost all the time, there's always water flowing from that spring. So fairly reliable as we go up here. As we head east, you're going to see down to the reservoir area, the Big Tunga Dam and Reservoir. And there's that terraced area below it with the sort of winding roads. That's actually a place where they put the sediment. They have to dredge the reservoir periodically. There's a reservoir right there. That's Mount Waterman in the distance and Twin Peaks. Another great hike that I think just opened up after the Bobcat closure. But We're going to twist around. That big mountain right there is Fox Mountain, Fox Peak, and then we're going to go in front of it. And you can see the trail leading right in front of it up there as well as we go by there. And once we get up to Fox, you're going to see the ridge where Condor is. Here's Condor, and there's Condor Point in distance. And you can actually see the trail. And you might have noticed the ups and downs. There's going to be some ups and downs from here on out. This was actually the easy part, the 6 miles of climbing. When we get to the saddle, you can go up to Fox right there. It's a steep use trail. Good views from up there, but we're going to get some good views from Condor as well. And you can see now we're looking up towards the north, but we're going to make the left-hand turn and continue here along the ridge. And you can see the trail winding in the ridge. If this is a long hike for you, it might get pretty tough here. There's a lot of ups and downs, especially on the way back. And the gradient's much steeper than it was before. You can see how steep it is here. Nothing like a scramble at this point, but it's definitely enough ups and downs that it will give you a little bit of a workout. And there's some false summits along the way. Here you can see there's a false summit, and we kind of just go off to the right of it. Continue climbing, more ups and downs. Here's one of the other false summits. Then when we come up here, you can see Condor Peak in the distance with yet another bump in between. And again, on the way back, these are a little challenging. Now, when we come to this junction, you can see the Condor Peak Trail is going off to the right into the north. We're going to go straight and head up this wall of Condor Peak right here. You can see there is a trail. When you look at this from one of the peaks before, it's going to look pretty steep, pretty insane, but it definitely is doable. And you can see there is a trail here. Now, when we get to this point, there's a split. You can definitely go straight. That's more of a class 3 scramble, but you can go to the right, and it looks a little bit overgrown. But once you pass through this overgrown section, the trail is going to wind up along this south side of the mountain. You can see the trail here. You can see it is steep, but it's not like half dome, like if you slip off, you're dead. If you slip off, you're going to probably go into some bushes, but I don't think you're going to slip off. I think you're going to be fine. It's just steep. Having trekking poles is definitely going to help on this section on the way up and the way down. And then towards the top, it gets a little more gradual. It's not so crazy. And then we're going to sort of level out on this plateau. Now there's two sort of high points. There's that one right straight ahead, which is where the register is. And there's also this high point over to the right once you get up to the plateau. I don't know if this is taller or not. It doesn't specifically say on the topographic maps, but you might as well check it out since you did all this work. And you can see the views are already spectacular up here. But otherwise, we're going to continue straight, and we'll go up to this pile of granite here to the peak where there's a little metal plaque. It's not a survey marker, I don't think, but there's also a trail register. And then there's Mount Lukens across the valley. Josephine, we can see all the peaks, Strawberry Peak, Waterman, Twin Peaks in the distance, Mount Baldy farther away, and really, really incredible views up here. Here you can see the register and that little metal marker. If you want to explore a little bit more, there's a flat area straight ahead. I've actually camped up here once years ago. Did a little overnight. Nice place to visit, but you can kind of explore around the summit area, check it all out, and then just go back the way you came. Now stick around a second. I'll show you what this looks like on a 3D map. All right, so here's the hike route. You can see we're climbing up on a pretty gradual climb. This is where that spring was. We're going to come all the way up to Fox Mountain, which is right here, and then follow the ridge line across to Condor Peak. This is Condor Point, the pointier part right there. Also worth mentioning, there are a couple of other approaches here. You can come down Condor Peak Trail from the north, and there's also a trail that comes up from Trail Canyon over here, which is kind of overgrown. I went there a little bit last year. It wasn't in great shape, but the Condor Peak Trail is definitely the main route up here. Now, I also mentioned another trailhead, the main trailhead to Condor Peak. That's actually around, it's right over here. And you can see there's a parking area here, and you can kind of see the trail on the map. We're going to, if you took this, you would basically come over here and meet us there. And you can see by parking in this area by Vogel Flats right here, we can kind of get to the heart of the climbing quicker than we could if we did the ups and downs over here. Now, as we go up, you can see pretty gradual as we go up here. This is Fuser Canyon right here. That's where the spring is. Climb up. Here we had the views down to the reservoir. Come all the way up here to the south face of Fox Mountain, and then we come up to that saddle. Now you could take that use trail, you can see it right there, up to the summit of Fox Mountain if you'd like, but otherwise we're going to go ahead and go across this ridge over to Condor Peak. Now, let's see if I can get it into a spot where you can see the ups and downs. You can kind of see them here. Here we go, you can kind of see it. We're going to do these ups and downs along the ridge until we get to the junction down here. And you can see the Condor Peak Trail continues off and then goes down here. We're going to do this climb, and if I go down here and give you like a eye level view, it's not even letting me do it, but you can see how steep it is from here. It's a pretty steep gradient here, and if you went straight, you'd have to scramble. It's definitely doable. I've done it before. You can scramble up these rocks here, but going around to the left is a little bit easier. The word easy being relative. Here we come up to the flat area. This is that first pile of granite. That was the kind of second high point. Here's the main peak, and then here is the summit flat where I mentioned I'd camped before. It was actually a good trip if you ever want to do it. I just went after work, late in the afternoon. It was in the summer. I hiked up here with just a bivy sack, not much, and some food. Stayed there, then hiked back down and went back into work the next day. So anyway, just another option for you. It's a fun hike. It's definitely tough, and it's definitely exposed in the summertime. It's mainly a hike to do when it's a little bit cooler out, but all those details will be in the guide on HikingGuy.com. All right, guys, I will see you out on the trail.